Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Lack of Focus, episode 102, X Wing 2.5.25. I am your host, Ed Horton, and alongside me tonight, my good friend, Mr. Sean Dorsey. Sean, how's it going, my friend?
Good, Ed. How you doing?
Good. And of course, our producer extraordinaire, one, Mr. Chris Sheriff. Chris, how's it going, my friend?
Good, thanks, Ed.
Okay, so we have oodles and oodles of X-Wing content to talk about, as seems to be the trend of the last couple of episodes. We've obviously got new points. We've got some new blue text in our rules reference and our erratas and even our scenarios. So we've got a whole bunch of new things that have changed over the last couple of days. We're going to cover over all of them. Before we do that, we're going to talk about what we've been doing in gaming lately. And as usual, I will start with Sean. Sean, what have you been up to lately, my friend?
I'm trying to think. That's a good question.
I know it's been a month since we talked because okay, to full disclosure, I think we missed last week and Chris was kind enough to pseudo record a bonus episode for us with Bruno, and was able to get that one out there due to I was on a trip with my kids and recording dates didn't match up and it just turned out to work out better for everyone if we just skipped that week and moved on. We did try to get everyone's schedules together, but it didn't quite work out. So thank you, Chris. You're awesome.
No, it was good. Bruno and Zach had fun. We had a good chat. We were gonna record again um on this week, but then I don't know. We're gonna try and record again tomorrow. I think I'm not sure because they, like I said, had a good time, and Zach's audio was terrible, so reminds me very much
Yeah.
of our early lack of focus episodes where it took a while getting it all dialed in again after the hiatus. But no, it
Well,
was really good fun.
I can think about old episodes of Nova that we had to re-record because the crappy free recording software that I was using at the time would just, go corrupt and we'd have to start. I can't tell you the number of times we ever had to do that, and you can tell those episodes and we're just going over like there's no reaction, there's no conversation. They're just like, "Yep, this is a thing. We're moving on."
Tell the same jokes. Everybody
So,
fake laugh.
yay.
Yeah.
We got good at that. Anyway, Sean, what have you been up to?
Not a great deal. Trying to think because it's been a month. So I got in a pseudo game of 40K.
You
Um,
did.
it was just more learning movement, trying to remember things. My son plays Thousand Suns, so he has a lot of whatever it is, the
Psychic powers.
Like,
yeah, psychic powers. I was going to say psionics because of D&D, but psychic powers.
Yeah, for Thousand Cents, it's like a complete like a second shooting phase for them. It's god awful.
Well, and the crazy thing about it too is it's like if you're just playing raw Space Marines against him, and I wasn't playing like any command point pieces or anything like that, just to try to get the basics down and stuff. He was because he had to because he's playing Thousand Suns, and
Mhm.
my God, is it? Thousand Suns versus vanilla Space Marines is just a slaughter. It's literally just he wants to, and it was a good learning experience because now I know I need more stuff like the bikes. I need some faster stuff that I can get in on them quick. I did some damage, but all in all, I think our rolls when it came to combat were about average. And but when it came to the psychic phase, man, he just tore me off the board. And of course, like I said, I wasn't playing with command points, so I couldn't wasn't playing to protect myself against things like that or have extra rolls and things like that.
Yep. So
I was
there are a
well,
couple of recommendations I would make on that side of it. One, a little bit of extra terrain can help that.
well,
Um,
and bear with me on it because I know you made that comment. When I took the pictures, one of
mhm.
the reasons why we didn't do more terrain was, hey, we were playing on a restricted field, and so we didn't have much width. And the other thing was the concept of it was learning how to move. It wasn't about the terrain yet. That's our next
Ah, okay.
next phase into this is terrain, and then we're working our way into it, so we don't, so one of us doesn't get frustrated. And
Yeah. Well,
the
because like
bad
even just having a ruin in there, like even having an extra ruin or two, if you if you're hiding behind a ruin, they can't draw a line of sight to you. Hence, they can't cast spells and
Correct,
psychic powers there,
and I
which
get that,
helps.
and but we also weren't playing with any. This was literally movement. There was no scenario that we were playing. There were nothing in there that gave us points. It was just literally
Point
get
guns
line
at each
of
other
sight,
and shoot each
measure,
other.
shoot
Yeah,
each other, move, make sure that we understand, because those are the basic things that
they are.
if you don't understand those things, especially from my side, he has to understand his psychic powers. I have to understand my stuff. So it was just the basics. That's really what it was for. We just haven't had a chance to get together again and do it, but hopefully we will soon. But uh, this week is kind of a crazy week for me, so it won't be during the week. Hopefully next weekend.
How many how many
Um,
how many points did you play? Just out of curiosity.
1,000 roughly.
Yeah, that's
That
a
was a that was a 2,000 point lists. And once again, I don't have all my models built, so I'm not 100% built for all of it. I didn't have any librarians out. I didn't have any.
would have been useful.
Correct. So I didn't have anything like that. I had, just some heavy hitters, big shooters, heavy hitters, things like that can shoot. A couple of them can shoot across the map. A couple of them can do other things. I had one vehicle. Um, I didn't use it for transport. I just used it as a vehicle, which he basically burned off the board in like a turn and a half, and it was pretty ugly with that. But it wasn't a tank. It was just a transport with minor weapons on it and stuff like that. So it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a big thing. We're slowly working up to getting full gaming in, which is what we're really looking for. But as it is with any new game, there's so many rules to learn
That there
that
are.
it's just better to do it. Other things I've been doing, of course, I don't know if I've talked about it on here. I can't remember, but I'm building kind of an in-home arcade, um, and I have 5 cabinets plus two. They're called party cades, but they're basically cabinets, 17-inch screen, and each one has 10 games. They're all from all everything I have right now is from Arcade One Up. I have Tron, which has Tron and discs of Tron, which is really cool to play with the Tron joystick and all that. And then I have a Bandai Namco cabinet. I have the Williams cabinet. I have Atari cabinets. Then I have Frogger that has. I got that because it has Time Pilot on it, and that's my so far all-time favorite video game to play. And then,
Really?
yes, I love Time Pilot. It's probably one of the more interesting games to play because of the way it plays. It's not a shooter it's not a up-down scroll shooter or anything. It's literally your movement is automatically whichever way you're pointing. So you automatically move that way, but then you're making circular movements. So pretty cool game. And then I got a Defender Partycade
There
that
you go.
has, well, it's not for Defender per se. I got it because it has Gorf on it, which is my number two favorite video game,
I did know that.
and Sinistar, which is my number three. So that cabinet, which is half the price of the other cabinets I bought, um, I got that. So, and then I got Ms. Pac-Man just because playing Miss Pac-Man's fun. I like it. I don't like Pac-Man, but I like Miss Pac-Man.
Gotta go with the classics, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then I bought, which I haven't got. Oh yeah, well I also have the Star Wars Pinball, which has 10 games, but it's not like a real pinball machine. It's a pin screen machine. It's a
Yeah, it's a
30.
digital.
Yeah, it's a digital screen, so it has 32-inch screen in it, which is perfect size for me. It's not a full size pinball machine, and with the size of my house, I don't need full size stuff. Everything's
How did
pre.
what's your review on that real quick? Have you played around with it much? Because I was always curious to how like I'm a big pinball fan, and I'm
I
kind of
like it.
curious to see how the digital version would work like that.
I like it. It has solenoids in it that activate to make like the the bumping sound and the dinging sounds.
Oh,
So
very nice.
So, but I mean, I watch a lot of videos with a lot of these people that have been in this arcade world a lot longer than I have, and they're not as happy with it. So if you're into true, true pinball, it's may not be your thing just because it's not going to have all of the bells and whistles that you really want. It has some, but not all. And of course, it's a smaller screen, smaller build. It's not a like a full size cabinet. It's a big cabinet for the space that I have, but it's not too bad. And then I have another cabinet coming from II Arcade, which was a startup I think a couple years ago with this, and it's a Dragon's Lair cabinet. And I'm excited.
Ooh,
I'm excited for that. And with that cabinet, I can purchase and download games to it. So the first purchase off that one is Burger Time because you know
I love Burger Time. That is
yeah.
it's such a great game.
Yep. So it's Burger Time. It has Double Dragon on it, and then
Ooh,
right now their list of they have like over 300 games you can purchase and download. It comes with 11. You can get Space Ace and Dragon's Lair 2 also. Um, but it's one of those things where it also has online play, which is cool. So you could play other people that have IA arcades and stuff on some of the types of games that are in there. So that's pretty cool. And it's kind of their 2.0 cabinet. So it's probably still in development. Hopefully we'll get it, by the end of summer and I'll have that. And then the final thing I did is I bought a drive from somebody online that has literally every single arcade and console game up to probably Xbox level.
oh wow.
PS2. I don't know if it has PS3, but it has PS2. It has over 90,000 games on
Oh, good
it. It
lord.
has basically every arcade game. So within the next few months, I'm going to go with a company to build a cabinet for me that'll be a pedestal cabinet. And I'll use actually the monitor you and Chris are on right now. I will actually use for that. I'll repurpose it for that. And basically, I'll be able to play any type of game I ever want. Um, then the final one I plan on purchasing is the arcade one up NFL Blitz, as long as it comes with the 49-way joystick
Yep,
and has Sinistar on it, because
yep.
you need the 49-way joystick for Sinistar to be able to move correctly, because you need all those points of movement to be able to pick up all the Sinobombs in Sinistar. So that's kind of what I've been working on lately, is more of that, and then working to rearrange my kitchen and different things like that. So um,
See,
not as
your place
and
seems
of
like a
course, well,
good place
and
to
of
hang out.
course, we did finish a game called Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
Booked
it's
it, finished.
bittersweet on that night. It was nice to finally finish the campaign that we started playing way back when COVID lockdown started happening and nobody could go out anywhere or do anything.
Right.
Um, it was bittersweet for me. Satisfying ending. I've ultimately in the end though, I was really kind of sad to see it go because like my this past Monday rolled around. I'm like, oh, it's D&D night, and I'm like, oh no, no, it's not. We
Yeah.
don't have D&D anymore.
So for me, it was just kind of a Mondays got really hectic for me for a little while there, and of course, other than this week, and now they'll calm down quite a bit. But yeah, so we finished Strahd, which was, I don't know what you want to call it.
It
It
was
was
Chris's version of Strahd. Like
yes,
legitimately, if we'd have played just the straight module, we'd have probably finished that up in like 10 or 15 sessions. But
probably.
we got a little bit of Chris's flavor added to it, which to be perfectly honest with you, I think added quite a bit.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
legitimately, I always feel like any of the wonky spots that we hit inside the campaign that we played was all stuff that came out of the book. All of the cool stuff, all the stuff that I am going to take good memories from in running that campaign is all the stuff that Chris came up with, which tells me I made a mistake in the beginning by voting for, hey, let's do this because I really want to do it. We really should have just done Chris's home campaign and just left it at that. So future reference, the next D&D campaign that we let Kris run, have Kris run, not let Kris. I'm trying to give the poor man a break. He's been running a D&D campaign for 2.5 years. So I volunteered to take on the next one whenever we decide to do whatever it is we're going to do.
Yeah.
Just so he can sit down and play, because there's a lot of work to set up, especially in this, especially how crazy the last couple of sessions were being inside the castle. I can't even imagine. And now, having been able to crack open the book and look at it, I felt so bad for him as I was reading. It was like, how did he even navigate this?
Yeah, I think if we do another D&D, I would like to do a first edition, second edition D&D with everybody.
Ooh, hell yeah.
And, we could still use Roll20, I'm sure, because you can upload stuff into it, can't you, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the majority of the stuff I can get that I would run is already online. So, and we do a campaign where it's kind of like, you do a module over a session or two and then move to the next one, and until people either get sick of it or we hit whatever climax I decide. But we can also do it where we could do D&D one week, take a week off, do something else another week, take a week, the every Monday thing I think can be laborious at times.
Yeah, I could see
Well,
that.
right now, if we started something, let's say within the next month, you're looking at summertime. So, kids
Yeah.
are out of school for people with kids, and it kind of, lockdown was different because you couldn't really do anything.
Well, and like, I don't know about the rest of you, but like, we've got a lot of vacations because of the number of dogs that we have. We have five, for those who have not mentioned before. um, it becomes a little bit difficult trying to find someone who's willing to come in and watch five dogs. So what this means is we end up taking separate vacations, not because my wife and I are having problems or anything. It's just like simple. It's just easier to have one person here that the dogs know, as opposed to sending us all out. Emergencies notwithstanding, like whenever my wife's uh, father passed away, we were out for a couple of days. We were able to find someone to watch him for a couple of days, but beyond that, so, for example, I think my wife has taken the kids to Vancouver this summer, and I think I'm on the slate for something else in July, but I don't remember where I'm going.
Hmm.
I think I'm doing another amusement park, I believe. My point though is like I get it, because legitimately I'm looking at the calendar for June and July, and I'm like, oh, here's a whole bunch of times that nobody's gonna, people are gonna be leaving the house.
Right. Yeah, and that's the key. In the fall, winter time, early spring, late fall time is probably the time where you go back to 3 to 4 week, 3 to 4 Mondays type thing. But because it's just, I mean, Chris can tell you, it can get stressful when you're trying to put stuff together every week. You
Mm-hmm.
know, unless you're train tracking everything, which is a way to do it. But if you want it to be creative and exciting, you really have to really put a lot of time and effort into it as the DM. And giving them a break is a good way to do it too, I think.
Yeah. I'm just trying to prevent him from having a psychotic episode. Let's be fair.
I think alright, a way that would be better for us to do stuff is like do one weekend a month and hang out for like 4 or 5 hours on like a Sunday or something. It's
And
probably
that
easier
that
to
might be
do
the better
once a
way.
month
Yeah.
rather than doing a couple of hours a night every week. But
Yeah, probably.
Right.
whatever. There's different ideas and different ways of doing it.
Yep. Yeah, I like the longer sessions.
Yeah.
The hard part is for me is that I go to work so early, and you know once we hit a certain hour, it gets really difficult to get enough sleep and all of that. And a lot of times we start late just because either we're jibber jabbering or someone's unable to get there early enough and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I
I
like Chris. I like Chris's idea of the weekend. Saturday evening, Sunday afternoon type thing.
Saturday evening probably would be perfect.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not like we don't use that time for recording podcasts about X-Wing anyway, you know.
Oh, I know. I was thinking about that. So like we're going to have that situation that's going to come up where we're going to cancel D&D because we have to record this one, because this one's going to take the priority. Like it'll happen maybe once or twice. It'll be
Yeah.
fine. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
It'll be good one way or the other. So, um, But other than that, I haven't done much gaming. I got I think yeah, we played my Wednesday game group. We played some Project Zomboid
There you
on
go.
that, and then the call it, the Terraforming Mars put out their maps update. So we played that for three of us played that for last night for about an hour and stuff. So but other than that, there hasn't been much gaming. I had intended on going to X-Wing on Tuesday, but my schedule did not fall into place. And my goal is to put a couple lists together and start going on Tuesday nights for our league nights in Omaha, Bellevue area, and get some games in. But that'll probably start up not this week for sure, but within the next few weeks, I'm hoping. So
I'm starting to see more people at our local store playing X-Wing recently. A game that I haven't seen played in there in a long time. A lot of people are trying to get a feel for.
I mean, there's a lot I could say about that, Ed. A lot that I'm gonna let you get away with. Mr. Community Leader, linchpin of your local community, complains that he doesn't see X-Wing played in his store anymore.
I told you.
How's the
Whatever.
Necromunda Crusade going? Sorry, your
I,
40k
I was
Crusade.
I was going to
Bet,
get
bet
to
you
that
see
one.
that played a lot, don't you?
I do.
anyway,
Shut
let
up,
me let
Tony.
me let me let me finish my stuff here
Yeah.
real quick. Other than that, I don't have anything else to talk about, Ed. But that's pretty much. It's been a lot of arcade stuff for me lately.
That's
So
okay. Well, to get on to that, yes, I did play Crusade. I've got 3 games of Crusade under my belt now. I've my Tyranids have played 3 games so far. It's been interesting. Again, the part that I think that I'm starting to struggle with is only about 4 or 5 people are playing Crusade, whereas everyone else is playing new stuff. So one day I went up to the game store. I was forced, darn it, to play my brand new Tyranid Codex because nobody there was the 2 people that were only 2 people that were playing Crusade, and they're playing each other. So we just ended up playing regular 40k that night. But it's been fun, been enjoyable. I've got I had so it's a month. How do I cover a month? Had a cool trip to Gettysburg with the kiddos. We went to Gettysburg for a school field trip. We were there for 2 days. Did some ghost hunting stuff too, like legit ghost hunting. My son went crazy and went up, bought a whole bunch of like ghost hunting equipment, and we went down into some of the creepy areas at night that you're allowed to be in, but it, you're not allowed to be on the battlefield. Because here's an interesting note: if you ever decide to go to Gettysburg at any point in time, the battlefield is considered to be a federal graveyard, and when it closes at night, if you were to say, I don't know, hop the fence after closing time, that's a federal trespassing charge. That's a felony. That's not a good thing. So we had to do a little bit of research to find some places that you could still go out that weren't necessarily on the battlefield, but still had a lot of report of quote unquote ghost activity. I didn't see anything, but my kids had a good time and they recorded some stuff, and I hope that they had fun. I tend to be a bit of a skeptic when it comes to those things. And sure, there's some weird boops and beeps that came over this one device that my son purchased to record stuff, but I don't know that I necessarily agree that it was a ghost. But in any case, so we did that, which interrupted our recording schedule. I do apologize for that. And then, of course, I've got a few games of Crusade in, and then I had a birthday last week. I'm now 44. Ugh. But cool because my family bought me a brand new army case, the army case that Chris recommended for Gabriel for Christmas, which is the Crusade case from Games Workshop. It's amazing. So now we have 2 of those in the house, and I got some Sisters of Battle stuff. So now I spent today finishing my build for building all the stuff that came in the Sisters of Battles box. So I've got everything in that Combat Patrol complete except for the Rhino, because I'm not a heretic. I am going to paint the inside of the Rhino. For those of you that are just X-wing only, it's a tank, and 99% of the time, I know in terms of the people that actually put this tank on the table, glue all the doors together, and they do model the interior of the tank. But since everyone glues the doors together, you never see it, so nobody ever paints it. I still paint them because they do make the model so that the rear hatch can open and you don't have to glue the top hatch down. So you could get in and actually see what the interior of the tank does. So before I can actually build the tank, I have to paint the interior first and then finish building it. So that will be my project probably tomorrow. Um, Tomorrow afternoon. I've got a little bit of lawn work I've been avoiding. It's been really hot here. So I didn't want to do it today because I didn't feel like it was like 94 degrees and like high humidity today. And I'm like, no, not doing it today. I'll do that tomorrow in the morning. So that's my short version. I get gaming. Um, Talked about X-Wing quite a bit, watched quite a bit of X-Wing in between my Crusade games, watched a lot of people playing it, seeing a lot more people at the game store playing it, which is awesome because now it's making me think, maybe next week I get, because I could just bring one. Like I have all the stuff. I can just bring one, and hey, if anyone's picking up a game of X-Wing, I could have that with me. So maybe I'll just toss that in my bag, and just in case, just in case, if someone's looking for a game of X-Wing, maybe I can go up there and do that.
You
Play
can go
some
and
actual.
crush streams with Vader and his defender. Now he's
He's
gone down
he's
in points.
He's a little bit cheaper. I saw that, but we'll get to that. That was really about it. Beyond that, there's not much more that I've been doing as far as gaming is concerned. Gonna be breaking out the paintbrushes tomorrow. Kris, however, you had quite a bit going on. So, since you tend to carry this section with actual X-Wing content, I'll let you carry this with an event that you ran.
Yeah, so no X-Wing in a month. So basically the back door to the that we rent for the X-Wing group to the store, someone tried to break in, so it's been broken, which means for the X-Wing group to be able to meet, a staff member has to be there to lock up once they're done because they can't like physically put a bolt on the door to keep it shut from the outside.
Do you think there was someone local? It had to have been,
As in,
right?
well, I think it was just some drunk or something. Because literally,
Oh,
you're
really?
trying to break into the after hours room, which is disconnected from the store by two metal fire doors.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they
But
didn't know.
they tried to like push their way in that hard that they broke the hinge on the breakaway bar for the fire exit. 'Cause it's out of the fire exit door, so I have to put a bolt on it to keep it shut so the alarm can be armed
Hmm.
at night. But that means I've had to be paid to be there. Well, sorry, I suppose technically when I go and play X-Wing, I'm not working. But if I'm going
But
to
you're
have to be there to work, I want to be clocked in to get paid because I have to be
yeah.
there. So there's kind of that grey area of like, I won't play because I'm being paid to be here. I'll do work instead. So instead, I've just been playing Necromunda while I've been there because I can do the Sentry Boxes Necromunda League, and that's at work. Because I'm
Yes,
promoting Necromunda to
you
me and
are
my other
100%.
so you know, no, I've been doing a bunch of work. I think in the last month I did. Okay, averages out, and I've been doing 40-hour weeks of actual work, and then still being like, at home with Evie and doing all of that stuff as well. So, finding time for D&D, all of those
Heck
things,
yeah.
and still doing a 40-hour work week as well. So pretty tired, but
I can imagine.
yeah, my Necromunda's been going well. I'll talk about that, I suppose. I did a Delac gang, which are like sneaky spies, and they're okay at everything. They're not even the best at being average. Like you can be better than average at anything, but not all at the same time. And I kind of went a weird way with my starting build for them. So I wanted 4 specific models that I thought were cool. But by the time I bought those, to hit my second criteria of having 10 models in my starting gang, meant that the rest of them had to be absolute garbage. So I've been just running like the Juves and the fresh gangers into battle and like just standing them in front of people's guns and like trying to just
Letting it
win
get killed.
through. Yeah, like they my first territory that I won was this settlement. So everyone starts with settlement, and after every game, you roll 2d6. If you get any sixes, you can get a free Juve. If you roll double six, you get a free Ganger. I claimed the second settlement, so I get to do that twice after every game. I also have a hanger on who lets me adjust a dice roll that's like a reward from a territory to a 6. So normally in Necromunda, like if your Juve gets injured, we'll go into recovery, so we can't turn up for the next game, or you get like lasting injuries. We might get like a hand injury, so you're worse at fighting, or a spinal injury, so your strength goes down. Whenever anything happens to him, I just shoot him in the head, roll him over in the pier into a dock, and then just replace him with someone else I got for free. Like, yeah, just there's more where the hair came from. It's fine.
I need Billy number 12 to get in here.
So the theme for my gang is kind of like Dark City, the old Kevin Bacon. Is it Kevin Bacon? Can't remember.
No, are you thinking like the movie that they did?
Yeah, with Richard O'Brien and
was that Kevin Bacon?
I don't.
You could be right.
Kiefer Sutherland, that's the one. Kiefer
That's
Sutherland.
okay. There.
Yeah. I knew how I got wrong. Jennifer Connelly. I love Labyrinth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, Richard O'Brien, Mr. Hand. I have Mr. Hand in my gang, but they're all like alien worm things just living inside people. Spoilers, by the way. Came out in 1998. Get wrecked.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that movie, it's like 20 some years
so,
at this point.
Yeah, whenever something happens, it's like, well, it's just a host vessel anyway, we'll just replace it. So we keep the same name because it's just the same worm that goes inside someone else.
Yeah.
So that's how I justify rolling over the bodies off the edge of a cliff. But, yeah, it's been good fun. I'm on a 4-game losing streak, but I've had some bad luck of trying to get money, and every time I try and get money, it costs me the game. But I've got one of my psychic powers that my unsanctioned psyker has is that I get to pick the scenario. So every time I'm like, I'm going to pick this scenario so that I can get money. And then like one game, I won that hard that I lost the game.
Wait, you have to explain that to me because I don't understand that.
So the mission is that there's 4 mine heads on the table. So you go and try and work for mining equipment to extract some ore. And then the person at the end of the game who's extracted the most ore wins. But it's you roll 2d6. If you get 10 or higher, you've capped off a mine head and extracted the ore. If you get like a 5 to 9, you get an extra d6 the next time you roll. If you get a 1 to 4, you just fail. Something bad happens, whatever. So I tried on one of them and got a 5 to 9, so I got an extra dice for next turn. My opponent tried and just got a 12 straight away, so he extracted 1. Then, in the remainder of the turn, I beat him that bad that he bottled out and then left, so the game ends. And he's extracted 1 mine, and I've extracted none.
Yep.
So he wins.
Oh, jeez.
So in turn 1, my infiltrating melter gun popped around the corner, sniped one of his guys off a table, first action of the game. I had all my tactics cards where he's more likely to bottle out, and then I realized what I'd done and was sad. So, I won that hard that I lost. So, read the mission. It's all right. Yep. Another game I played that I actually won. I was just going after credits, and I got to roll 6d6 times 10 credits.
Okay.
I got 110 credits.
Ooh.
Yeah.
On 66.
On 66. Ooh. I rolled an 11 on 66. I was like, cool. Well, that was not worth it. Again, someone got injured, so I had to buy the guy to replace him for that one. So that ate into my, and I was like, I literally came out of this game behind.
Then where you started.
Yeah. It's just been that kind of cycle of but I finally think I've scraped together enough money that the gang should kind of work now. But yeah, it's good fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I've done a little bit of. I've not done much painting this year. I did too much last year, I think, and burnt myself out, and I've been working a lot, so I've been tired.
Yeah, no, I understand. It
But
makes you feel
yeah,
any better. I got my flying hive tyrant injured, and now I'm debating whether or not I'm going to be able to field him again because
you know.
he dropped in toughness, and I'm like, well, I don't want to field him if he's that bad.
Oh, that's a good story. So one of the scenarios that we did, because it's a Sentry Box ran Necromunda campaigns, we wrote a scenario for the month of May, and that's after you've done your like normal fight, challenging for a territory and stuff. For further games, you can choose to do a rat patrol, where if you just go and hunting giant rats because there's a rat problem in Necromunda, who knew?
Who knew?
But it's a random number of fighters between 3 and 6. 'Cause it's it's D3 plus 2, so between 5 and 6. Between 3 and 5. God, words, math's hard. But then you choose them from your starting crew at random. So we rolled 3. So I got 3 fighters. So to go and hunt these rats, I got my champion of a melter gun. Sounds pretty good. Until
Yeah,
you
it does.
remember that he took an injury in the first game, which took his strength down to 2. He was a strength 2 champion, but he's got a melter gun
Yeah,
and
he's shooting.
nothing else, because I can't afford to buy him any extra guns yet. The rats have got a 4-up invulnerable against shooting. So turn 1, I shoot a rat and roll a 1 to hit, so it misses.
Yeah.
Hits on 2s, by the way. Turn 2, I shoot a rat. I hit this time, roll a 1 to wound. Turn 3, I shoot a rat. I hit it, I wound it, and it passes its invulnerable save.
Wait, how does a rat have an invuln save?
Because they're nimble. They dodge. Slippery.
They're slippery.
Yeah. So that was great. Then the rat finally charged me, and I had to fight it forever with strength 2, so I couldn't wound it. So that was one of the 3 people that I got. So the toughness 3 with 3 wounds. These fucking Necromunda rats. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And when you're sitting there at strength 2, those are rolling on 5s.
The second guy I got is my sniper specialist. I say specialist. What I mean is the guy who somehow found a rifle, told everyone he was a sniper, but has obviously never fired a gun in his fucking life. Because in 5 games, I don't think he'd done a wound to anybody. Never mind kill anyone. And again, he's only got a sniper rifle with no backup weapons. First shot, he misses and runs out of ammo. So he's got nothing. So he's got to try and club rats to death with the arse end of his fucking rifle. And then the third fighter I got to take was one of the Juves that I have with no equipment at all.
Aww.
So I was like, this is fucking bullshit.
Is he throwing rocks at them at this point?
No, he's just bitch slapping them.
Oh, gotcha.
It's Will Smith just runs up and like, you keep my wife's cheese out of your goddamn mouth.
Well, them and my hive guard could go to the same camp for learning how to shoot because, oh my god, I think I rolled 22 dice and missed every single shot. And that was over the course of like 3 rounds. And I'm like, how do they miss every shot? I mean, every shot.
We did. This is probably the longest game of Necromunda. It was 7 or 8 turns. And I killed 1 rat in 8 turns.
Oh, good lord.
And then bottled out. I was like, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. It was horrendous. I got like 3 different rats down to 1 wound each. And then my opponent would just not come in and get a last wound on it.
Damn it.
No, that was mine. I worked for that. Oh.
So you should have gimlied those ones. That one was mine.
Yeah, but you know, it is what it is. I love that. That's why I love Necromunda, because it does that. But yeah, we ran an extended Fangs Out tournament today.
There you go.
So that was pretty cool. It kind of drifts into a quasi main topic before we knew about all of the new changes. But we
Mhm.
ran it with they all hassled me yesterday. The points, so the day the points came out, we were like, for a tournament tomorrow, can we use the new rules and new points? So well, I don't care, do what you want, man.
Sure, if that's what you want.
So we had new points as well and all of the new rules. But it was really interesting. So Fangs Out, for people who don't know, is 60 minutes plus or minus per round, but you only have a 2-minute planning phase. So I bought a bunch of 2-minute egg timers and just put them on each table. So you'd start the egg timer at the start of each planning phase. And yeah, nobody had to perform the run out of time maneuver throughout the whole day. So everyone managed to plan all of the dials in
Look
under
at
2
that.
minutes.
It's almost like it can be done.
And one of the that's it. One of the other questions I asked was, so how much of an impact do you think the 60-minute rounds had? Because obviously games go to time in 75-minute rounds, and it was weird because like games just concluded naturally in the 60 minutes. So yeah, it didn't really feel like it was an issue. Yeah. So less sitting around in the planning phase with your thumb up your ass trying to work the clock and just play the game. And yeah, like X-Wing is a fun, quick game that you can play in an hour. Who knew? Weird.
It can be done.
But
I that was the one thing whenever I saw those in the rules going, that is, I wish that were standard.
Yeah. It
Because
was
don't get me
really
wrong,
good.
I've had those games where like you take a little bit extra time because you're trying to figure out, all right, if I do this, he does that, and you're trying to think 2, 3 turns. Where am I going to end up in the following turn? But when you're under the clock like that, you just make the decision and go. And you just kind of accept your fate.
Let me see if I can actually bring it up because I should have the. I think from memory, I think 70% of the games concluded naturally on the last turn that was played. So like time was called, but that would have been the last round anyway, or they'd already finished. That makes sense. So I
It makes
think
sense.
2 of the games like finished. My events. There we go. Casual Fangs Out extended. Okay. Rounds. There we go. Round 3. So what was a draw in round 3? At 11
Ooh.
versus 11, and that was Scramble or Transmission. So that one would have been a slog if you'd have been playing an untimed round. The other one finished before time with a score of 26-8. Oh. Yep. Salvage was round. I don't know. I'm going backwards, but that was round 3. Round 2 is salvage. And then yeah, one of them went to tie. Oh no. 2 games went to time. One of them finished with 21 points after that round anyway. The other one was an 11-9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one game would have ended naturally anyway.
Yeah. And then yeah, so basically one game every round. So like 70% ish of the games needed time because of 60 minutes. But like I think a couple of those would have probably been done if it was a 75-minute round, would have finished not, you know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah. Yeah, it was good.
I'm a huge fan of that 2-minute time limit on the
It was really
setup.
good. It was really good fun to run because I was 0 time pressure because it's doing a 75-minute round, but then giving them time to set up and find your table, do all of that stuff, breaking for lunch, bathroom breaks, all adds up. You're cutting like 30 minutes off per round by it being a 15-minute shorter. It sounds weird. The rounds are 15 minutes shorter, but I cut like 90 minutes off my day. Normally, I'd finish an event like that around 5:30. I was ready to leave at 3.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I'm on board, man. I love it. Fangs Out all the way. Every event from now on.
Those are the greatest events ever. Even early events.
Yeah. And then what else did we do? Yeah, because it was extended as well, so it was interesting to see what kind of stuff people took. Like Matt, the person who won, was running Commander Paul and Han Solo. So that was cool seeing
Ooh.
the Han coming off the ban list to take the win. Obviously, you can't score. We're going to get there, but you couldn't score in turn one anymore. So that was interesting. So it's not like you could just plonk Han on an objective early and then kind of score and run. But it was like just getting him into a fight earlier. What else did we see? There was Vader in a defender, Rexor in a defender, and 2 jingoists. So that was
Ooh.
a nice 4-ship list with Vader defender in there.
That's an interesting list. I like that.
Yeah, what we're talking about is like, generally that should be good because if you ignore the jingoists, they get to score points on the objectives. And if they don't ignore the jingoists and kill them first, they probably don't have the firepower left to deal with 2 defenders.
Right.
So there's a lot of scope in there for
Yeah, I like that a lot.
oh dear, yawn. I'm really tired. I should have probably got more sleep.
That's
Oh,
okay.
hey ho.
Well, that kind of leads right into the main topic. So, do you want to spill into the shadow update to the scenarios?
Yeah, we can do this. So I printed out the scenarios this morning, and they were slightly different. The only one that I know is 100% different was where is it gone? Oh, it wasn't a scenario. It was God damn it, I've lost it now. I think it might be in the rules reference. In fact, it was an Ion thing that got changed, not a scenario thing. I just lied to you when we were talking about what we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
I'm a liar and a thief. I don't know, whatever.
Well, 'cause I didn't realize that was they changed that today
No,
because I
so
was looking at
no, yeah. So one of the things, yeah, I suppose, yeah, we're probably better off to just talk about Ion in general then,
okay.
because it's
We'll go to Ion first then.
yeah. So just to conclude Ed's story, after my mistake, the thing that they changed with Ion since yesterday is that it says a ship that is ionized cannot acquire or maintain locks. It used to say be assigned locks and maintain locks. So it used to not
What
be able to acquire, maintain, or be assigned locks. But
does
that
it
would
all
mean that you couldn't lock onto it with an enemy ship
correct?
because you assign an enemy lock token. But what it meant was like Hera passing a lock token to it.
Right.
So it was just a stealth change to that. That's what's changed. That concludes Ed's story because there's much bigger changes in Ion than not being able to lock onto things, as cool as that is.
As cool as that is.
Yeah.
All right,
So
where do you want to go first? I mean, because you did kind of intimate at the scenarios. I think we should probably cover that one first because they made it.
I'm on Ion. Let's just get this done because
All
this was a
right, let's
cool
get
one.
Ion done. All right,
Yeah, I
we'll do
think
the
this is a
main.
huge change that we get to talk about. So I think we're
It
going
is.
into this one.
It is pretty big.
So
It worded a
Ion
little weird, but
has completely changed. Yeah. So a ship is
I,
ionized while it has a number of ion tokens relative to its size. 1 or more for a small ship, 2 or more for a medium ship, and 3 or more for a large ship. Ion tokens are red tokens. A ship that is ionized cannot acquire or maintain locks. When a ship becomes ionized, it breaks all locks it is maintaining.
that's new, right? Because
Yeah,
I don't
that's
recall ever
new.
reading that
well,
one before.
that's new as far as, yeah. I mean, it is as far because it used to say during before that it used to say during the planning phase,
Mm-hmm.
ion ship is not assigned a dial, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That's now no longer in there.
Yeah, so during the activation phase, an ionized ship activates as follows. The ionized ship skips its reveal dial step. So you don't reveal a dial, but you've still set one. During the execute maneuver step, the ionized ship flips its maneuver dial face up and executes an ion maneuver with the same direction shown on the dial. An ion maneuver is a blue speed, one bank, or straight.
So I'm curious as to why they went with the wording that they did. So that still means that you still need to quote unquote set a dial. You just don't reveal it and then flip it.
Because there are things that trigger upon revealing a dial.
Right.
They will
Gotcha.
no longer work because you flip
Because you're
the
not.
dial.
All right, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I
I
knew
mean,
there was
you
some
got to
thought
so you got to remember this. So ion anything caused a star destroyer to basically end up crashing, and I know it was shields and all that other stuff, but crashing into the gate or whatever it was at whatever planet it was in Rogue One.
Gareth.
The it yeah, Scarif. It Ion literally disabled a star destroyer completely, shut it down 100%, which is what Ion is supposed to do. If you go back to Empire Strikes Back and they shoot the ion cannon once again at a star destroyer, it literally shut the thing down completely. They couldn't fire weapons, they couldn't do anything. So basically, you're drifting in space when you're Ion, and that's what's happening. You're no longer able to reveal a dial. You just have a dial there, and you flip a dial to show that it's that ship's activation. Would that be the correct way to interpret that, Chris?
Well,
You
so
know,
what it does now is you actually get a little bit more control than you used to have. So obviously, because you didn't set a dial, you just did a one straight. But that led to situations where if you had set a dial and became ionized before you revealed your dial. So if someone dropped a coronet on you
Yep.
before
yep,
stuff like that, when you'd end up, well, you've set a dial now, so you have to reveal your dial, which means you do your normal move, which wasn't an ion move, so you don't remove the ion token, which means you're stuck doing a focus this round and then next
right.
round. So it kind of got weird, and there were some strange interactions. So this now means that when you when you flip your dial,
Yeah, I was just gonna
because we don't
say.
reveal it, um, if you have a left turn, like a one hard left, a one
Right.
left bank,
Yeah.
a two hard left, you just do a one bank to a left.
Yeah, you're drifting. You're just
Yeah.
drifting to the left.
But it now means that it should be a lot harder to ionize somebody off the table because they're
Yeah,
not stuck going in a straight line.
because
Right.
under normal game conditions, you would know whenever you're setting the dial that you were ionized the turn before.
Yeah.
And now, are there other exceptions to that? Like you said, the Connernet being the exception, sure. But you would think that someone would be pointing themselves away from the table edge at that point.
But that's, you know what I mean? It's not so much that, it's more that but the big change is that you have agency in what
Correct.
direction your arc
Yes.
faces
Yes.
when you're ionized
Right.
now.
And that's that. I think that's a big thing too.
So do I.
Yeah.
It
100%.
actually adds a sense of, in my opinion, realism maybe into it, but also um, takes away all the issues that you can have being ion after setting dial.
I think one of the problems I think there's always been with Ion is that when it's good, it's not fun. So it always has to be priced just above being good.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because you can't have it being too good because it wasn't fun to play against. Like no one wants to not be able to do any oh well you've ionized 3 of my ships, that's great, cool. And then because you know where they're gonna be, it's easy for you to ionize them again, and they can only do focus actions, they can't get out of your arc. So yeah, you've got me. I suppose I just sit here for 3 turns until you've killed me. I don't have any choice.
Yep.
Yep.
Now you can at least oh well, I can swing back around and try and drag you into, if you chase me, you can. I hate that. I can swing back around and drag you through the rocks. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Maybe. You can.
But there's still some element of agency in where your ship goes now, and I think that's good. I didn't expect Ion to change.
Neither did I. Like, of all the things I would have thought were going to change, having played a few games, that was not on the list of things because Ion's been basically. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've reworded it and they've refunctioned it a little bit and put it in different wording, but basically it's been the same since the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Functionally, when it comes down to the movement phase of what Ion did to his ship, it's functionally been the same. So it's interesting. It's gonna be an interesting change.
Yep, and I do like the fact it breaks walks. That's fun.
Yes, I do like that too.
Yep.
Yeah. Then do you want to do any more rules referencey things?
I did not see much other than the mission points, but we're going to talk about that in
exactly where I
mission.
was gonna go.
I saw that. So before a ship moves, if it's overlapping an obstacle, it does not suffer the effects of moving through that obstacle.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a big one. So you can't, if you land on a rock and you're like bang in the center of it, so you're gonna have to fly off it, you no longer hit that rock twice. If you start overlapping, you don't suffer the effects.
That's a pretty big change.
Yeah. And again, I think making them more punishing initially is probably enough.
Yep.
Yeah, probably.
Now, if you're at range 0 of it and you still run over it, you still get it though.
Well, if you're in range 0, aren't you touching it?
So this is.
I think. What page? Where have I gone?
It's 16 is the page.
Yeah.
It says here, before a ship moves, if it's at range 0 of an obstacle, it does not suffer the effects of that obstacle unless it moves through or overlaps that obstacle again. And this is where this gets a little confusing because of what's following right after it.
Yeah, that's a good question.
So for me, in the boy, for me, I have before a ship moves, if it is overlapping, fucking hell, man. Before a ship moves, if it is overlapping an obstacle, it does not suffer the effects of moving through that obstacle. Full stop.
Right, but read the one right before it.
Yeah, you read the bullet point right before it. And for the audience at home, I'll read it. Before a ship moves, if it is at range 0 of an obstacle, it does not suffer the effects of that obstacle unless it moves through or overlaps that obstacle again. And then the very next bullet point says, yeah, forget that, because if you're overlapping the obstacle, it doesn't suffer the effects.
I guess that this is an editing mistake because there's no reason to put the new one in if you're keeping the old one.
The old
one.
Speaking of stealth updates, I would guess that this will be one soon.
Yeah, for me, because I'm looking at things like next to each other from the old to the new. And when I caught that, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. It had to be an issue.
Yeah, they've just. My guess would be, I don't have the old one next to me, Sean, but I'm guessing that they've literally just added in a bullet point instead of replacing the bullet point.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Can we go back a page and talk about the mission points thing? They just clarified what happens with mission points are determine who win the game. References the scenario rules. 2 bullet points are added for this. At the start of the game, each player earns mission points equal to their opponent's deficit. So if you are not running a full 20, you are giving points away at the beginning. So interesting they didn't. First of all, I think we've talked about this multiple times now. There's no reason not to run a full 20 anymore. Like there's no advantage to it at all, especially with road now being in place. So you should run a full 20. But if you happen to decide to run 19 because you can't squeeze another ship in there, you're going to be giving those points away at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And that but they've said that since the beginning of this too.
Right.
They just put it on in
Did you say you'd got the old one there as well, Sean?
Yeah, I have them left or side by side because I have them on my Google Drive and then page 5.
Page 5. I think this might be an interesting one. Finally.
Hold on, let me get my mouse to work. Page 5.
The attack range. There's a nice blue bit in the attack range, which I think might be the major rhymer thing that's been annoying forever.
So
So I think, if I remember, this used to talk about a ship not being able to attack at range 0, even if the attack
So
range was
it
range
says
1.
here, this is what it says in the last one. During attack, the attack range is determined by measuring range from the closest point of the attacker to the closest point of the defender, that is in the attack arc, while measuring range for abilities that do not specify attack range. The range between the attacker and defender is measured from the closest point of the attacker to the closest point of the defender, ignoring the attack arc.
Yeah.
So that's literally, I think that's the same. They didn't change the first two parts. They just added the while attacking the ship at range 0.
That it's always a range 0 attack. Okay.
Yeah, but let's go down to the errata at the bottom. It's let's see, page.
Well, while you're looking at that,
It's page 29. So
yeah.
that's where the errata.
There's another one on page 5, just to quickly get it away, which is
Yep.
you can't modify dice at range 0. That takes out the bit about Jedi being able to do force stuff. So you can't spend force for a default effect at range 0 anymore. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So just run into them and it'd be worth the damage.
But they just don't get the extra bonus that other people didn't get.
Right. Because they could still pull it off with their force powers. All right, Sean, what page are we taking us to next? 20-something?
29. This just gives you the ship erratas. I don't know if you looked at these.
Yeah, it's all of the strikers and the reapers. This is cool.
Yeah. Reaper, striker, reaper. Then it modifies BB Astromech and then BB-8.
Yeah, it's good.
And then contraband cybernetics, which I don't.
This one's relatively controversial. People have been abusing Jabba and a couple of other things to let you do almost infinite contraband cybernetics.
Gotcha.
But that just shuts that down.
Yep.
Ursa Wren got nerfed. People are sad, but whatever.
Yeah. That's about it. Nothing in the Q&A, it looks like.
Going to the actual errata document, the thing I really like about the strikers and the reapers now. So the reapers, their controlled ailerons is before you reveal your dial, if you are not stressed, you may boost. So it's no longer a maneuver, it's a boost. And it's a may for reapers. Because one of the problems with reapers is because they're on the medium base, and they used to have to do 2 moves. So they were fast. They were really hard to keep where you needed them to be, so you just overshoot the engagement zone and then die, basically. They're like the Lambda the first time around, but if you weren't allowed to bump anymore, and you had to boost a Lambda. So, yeah, then the strikers have adaptive ailerons. Before you reveal your dial, if you're not stressed, you must boost.
Yeah, they changed that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's cool. I like that. And
I'm a gigantic fan. I'm sorry, just 2 seconds. I'm a gigantic fan that AMG is actually giving you printout cards.
Yeah.
To kind of help solve that problem of I don't understand. I love the fact that there are printable cards you can just slide right into your sleeves, and then those are the new valid versions of that card.
I mean, I'm not going to comment. I'm going to resist because I would just be. I agree. How's that? I agree that it is a good thing that AMG have done this because like people may want to complain at me that the rules aren't the same as in the starter set. They haven't been ever. But
they haven't been since the first FAQ they put out.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, that's not a valid argument.
Yeah. I agree vehemently.
I'm sorry, that can't even it's not even possible to be a valid argument. Like nobody plays the rules directly out of the box anymore. Nobody.
You would you'd be surprised how many people make that argument. But what are you gonna do? Okay, so then Let's leave scenarios and stuff till the end, I think. Let's jump
Sure.
to, do you want to do points or ban list?
Can we do the ban list first? Because there's some funny stuff in the ban list I want to talk about.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not sure how I feel about how they prepared this document because they've trained us over the years. Blue text represents new stuff that you didn't know before. And then in the ban list, in the upgrades for the points, they just grade stuff to let you know that they were changed. So you don't know if they went up or down, or that's a complete aside. So interesting stuff they're found here. Auto blasters are on the ban list. And my personal favorite, when I looked at this and I had to do a double take on this, hull upgrade. Hull upgrade has been banned from standard play. Now, we did a little bit of pregame on this one, and Kris kind of gave me an idea of like maybe what they might have been thinking is
I
that
can't remember if I spoke about this with you guys in the past or if I did it on Bad Ideas where we were talking about stuff that we just didn't like. But you go and then I'll come in. But yeah, you go.
sure. So the thought process, of course, being that the first thought that I had is, oh, well, they're trying to tamp down how many ships are running around with hull upgrade. Maybe they're seeing something in the meta that we're not. Every ship's running them, so they're gonna ban them and get them out of the way. But it's more simple than that. In the fact that if I get a shield upgrade, I can put a shield token on the ship to represent the extra shield. There's nothing to put down on a ship if it's got a hull upgrade. That's it. It could simply be just that simple that was the whole thought process. I would have pushed back and said, well, then just make a hull upgrade token.
So
Put
I
that on
think it's
the printed sheet that we have, and we can call it a day.
so one of the things I would have done, like, because I can't remember exactly the conversation because it was a while ago now, but I think I was talking about it on Bad Ideas with Bruno and Zach, and I said like one of the things I would have liked to have seen is like hull upgrade being a standardized card. But obviously,
Yeah.
standardized as a rule didn't exist when they made hull upgrade, because one of the problems with loadout for me personally was that we were seeing people taking hull upgrade as an easy option because it was relatively cheap, but you can't put it on every ship. So because you end up with like, well, this TIE fighter has a hull upgrade, this one doesn't. This TIE fighter has this one has access to a cannon slot, so I got a cannon instead of the hull upgrade. And you'd run into a situation where you're having to stop and ask, right, I've done 2 damage to that one. Do I need 1 more or 2 more?
Yeah.
Because there's more cards on the table.
And I get
there's
that.
more interactions and stuff going on. And it was more obfuscated as to how, like, which ships had how much health remaining because of hull upgrades. I think with shields, because this sounds stupid, but bear with me, because they're both +1 to your health pool.
Right.
But shield upgrade is the first damage, hull upgrade is the last damage.
Yeah.
You know, in your head.
Get it. I get
so.
the
So I think what's interesting with this is I think this shows you, and bear with me on this. This shows you the limitation of having pre-printed cardboard compared to printable lists. You know, where you could walk in, do a builder, print all the cards out in the builder, and then it modifies what you have right there
while you're doing it.
Yeah.
with your printout. You know, that's a thing I think a whole upgrade creates is there are some interactions with the way the game is actually made that makes it difficult. And like Kris said, they're both the same thing. It's just shield upgrade is the first you're taking off, full upgrade's the last one you're taking off.
The only argument, like for me, a ban list to me should represent something that is clearly too powerful in your standard game that it doesn't belong in the game. And if that is the line of thinking, I think that they're like if the card's powerful and belongs on the ban list, fine, I'll buy that. I don't know. I don't know that I agree with it, but I'll buy that as the answer that you're giving for the reason to not do it. It doesn't show up as it doesn't have a token could have been easily solved with the printable FAQ errata sheet that they got. You could have just put a hull token on there, and
And ultimately, I think that would have been solved by having all damage as tokens.
There
So
you go. There you
you
go.
would have shield tokens and hull tokens. So if you add the hull, then it's added as a hull token. But
Yep.
once again, it's already a well convoluted game with a lot of crap on the
Mhm.
table anyway
Yeah.
at this point. And with the card size change, it makes it even worse. Ultimately, I can
I
take it or
think
leave it.
I think in truth that what I kind of agree with the sentiment that Ed has there,
Mhm.
but I don't think this is AMG's game. So I think if AMG made X-Wing from the ground up, I don't think the ban list would work like this, because I think they would have had these considerations going into making the cards. So
Sure.
it
Correct.
just wouldn't have
Correct.
made hull upgrade wouldn't exist. It's like, why does hull upgrade exist? What what TIE fighter do you know of that is more rugged than the TIE fighter next to it because it got a hull upgrade?
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
Yeah.
get it.
is that not just a TIE bomber then? Yeah, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
squadron.
do think this. I think if you were playing a game with tanks and you put the ablative armor on a tank, that would be a whole upgrade compared to this. It has no
Yeah, well,
bearing.
that's
And I
something
think
you
we
can do though. It's like you'd
Yeah.
word the card differently. The first hull
Right.
damage you take, discard this card.
Correct.
Like, so you
right.
just do like the flip the card over kind of mechanic. I don't know, exhaust the card, tap the card, have a charge on it.
Mhm.
Right.
And that you've got stuff like, is that not how impervium? I'm gonna have to look it up. I think that's how impervium plating works. It's like you spend a charge to cancel damage.
Yeah, and then it goes away. Yeah, but and I get where your point is. They are kind of stuck with what is currently in print. I
Hmm.
think they also just showed us examples that they can reprint cards. So if that's the thought process, then why not reprint Hull Upgrade and have a charge on it and have change the wording? Do you know what I mean? And again, maybe the argument is twofold. Maybe the argument is it's a little convoluted for the game. Four ships that all have different hull values because some ships can take it and some ships can't, and there's no way to visually be able to tell on this ship. Okay, fine. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. That's the answer. But I think there
Yeah.
are ways to get around that. If it's a powerful card and belongs on the list, then it's a powerful card and it belongs on the list.
And like, so what about Auto Blasters then? Is Auto Blasters a powerful card that belongs on a list? Or is Auto Blasters in combination with like a Jedi um
Yeah, that's what I
Ada
was
that then has the droid that guarantees you a crit? Is
well,
that the thing that's wrong? Or is it just
in
Auto
my
Blasters?
mind, I think turrets by and large in
Well,
second edition have been
that's a cannon though. That's not a
Yeah.
turret. That one's a
no, that's
cannon.
true.
Yeah. He's
Well,
thinking of
In
even
first
this,
edition Auto
cannons can go
Blasters.
into that too. Cannons have been very well underrepresented since second edition flipped over.
But that's because it's not the cannon that's good, it's the package that's good. But
correct. It's
they
what
tried removing the cannon swap from the Ada and then gave it back. So that obviously didn't feel right to them. So then they
now you
gave it
have
them
to take
back,
it.
and instantly everyone put auto blasters back on it. So like, how much do you skew the points with loadout? Like, do you just every ship that auto blaster would be good on? Do you just make auto blaster cost one more than the loadout that is on that ship,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
do you just say, you
we've
know
had this
what, let's just ban it?
conversation. Yeah, and
Uh,
like I said, that one's an easier argument for me than Hull Upgrade. To be perfectly honest with you.
Well, yeah, but see, this is where I kind of get frustrated with it because it's like nice to have when you're looking at cannons. So look at cannons as a whole. Your three big cannons, I think, are what ion cannon, heavy cannon, and this one, right?
I don't know
Heavy
how many other
laser,
I don't know how many
heavy.
other cannons there are. That's why I said
Well,
they're vastly
there's a few.
underrepresented.
There's a lot now. There's more. There's
Ion
jamming beam,
cannons.
tractor beam, ion
Yeah, there are
cannon,
Oh, I forgot
those.
tractor beam was a cannon
sync.
But I'm
slot. You're
talking.
right.
What I'm talking about are cannons that actually, like, truly help you in a game by if you're looking at damage itself. Ion cannon is the weakest. The most consistent is auto blaster, and then HLC, which is your long range cannon that has a diminishing effect. So now auto blasters was the one that sat in the middle. Or if you're like me and you like playing a ship that can carry 2 cannons, you because of the ranges, you have them because they do 2 different things, but because one's a 1 to 2 and the other one's a 2 to 3, and they have 2 different implementations, we'll call it. It to me, because of another ship, you're lessening other ships. This
Yeah,
is where I don't like how they do it, where they're not correcting the ship that's the problem.
they're
They're
correcting.
basically correcting a problem that isn't a problem for all ships.
But
Yeah,
is it is an Ada with an ion cannon a problem, or was it
I
only an
don't
Ada with an auto blaster? Because and that's the thing. It's like, what's more important, the card that you get in the ship pack, or the ship that you get in the ship pack? And that's what I mean. I think it's. I don't know that there's a right answer. I'm
yeah,
Yeah.
not. I'm not saying that I think they should have banned it. Like, I don't. I don't know. I know that the second they let me take auto blasters on Adas, I put it back on there and just
yep.
was being mean to people with it. And I don't know that me not being allowed to do that makes me unhappy. You know what I
Well,
mean? I so
could
I'm
you have put it could you have created a restriction then with it?
Yeah, you could have put it on the restricted list, but it still puts it
okay.
on the one spot.
So tell me how that works.
Oh, you just restrict them off of the ADAs.
How you can't?
Why can't you?
I don't know. I don't know how you would though.
Well,
So do you remove a
there's
cannon slot from the ATA because they did that and it made the ATA terrible and no one took them anymore?
or you just put down here on the restricted list, down here, cannot take X cannon on ADA.
See? Uh, yeah, I
Because
don't know.
my problem is you're solving a problem, but and bear with me on the wording, but you're punishing other ships that don't have the big problem that
Yeah,
you have with one single ship. It's ban the ship, that's the problem, fix the ship that's the problem, or fix the problem on the ship that's the problem by creating a restriction.
But
You
I
know,
think the problem, well, the fundamental issue, I should say, not the problem, because you were kind of going down two different paths here. I think the fundamental issue is that FFG made the game to be one way, and AMG
it
think that this will be a better game.
no, no, no. And I
And
actually told Ed that. I actually mentioned that to Ed before you got on, Chris, about whole. About the when they did whole upgrade. Same thing. It's not their game. Officially, it's their game, but it's not their game. They didn't design the game, so it's probably off of there because it helps make the game easier or better. So that's that same argument, which I understand that argument.
I suppose better is a relative term. It takes it closer to the vision for the game, is what
Yeah,
and I think the package that they can get that was because if you leave auto blasters, do you instead? I think you could do instead of doing auto blasters, instead you could have put marksmanship, malice, and the droid that converts hits to crits on the ban list instead. But then you put 3 cards on the list to stop auto blasters from doing automatic damage. Why not just put auto blast? You know what I mean? Like, how
yeah.
far down the rabbit hole do we go of trying to fix those combos when all of
Or
them, if all of the combos involve auto blaster, it's a correct choice to just ban
but
auto
it's
blaster.
only on one ship. That's my problem.
It's you can do it with Scum, where you can take like Paul Heaver was running Boba Fett with auto blasters, Greedo, and marksmanship. So he was guaranteeing himself a minimum of 2 crits plus whatever he rolled. You can do there are other ways of doing it as well. It's not like I was doing it with Adas because it's the easiest one to abuse, but there are other ways around it as well.
Okay,
And
let's move on because we could keep on one
yeah,
card forever.
go on. This
I
is
don't
fine.
think there's a wrong thing. I enjoy the discussion, to be honest, Sean, because I think it's interesting. Like, not so much who do you blame for the list looking like the ban list looking like it is, but more of like why does the ban list look like it is?
Yeah,
And
no,
I
and I
think
agree. I agree with that.
yeah, yeah.
So maybe you can help me with the R2 and the R5s. Is it because it's changing the dials to the
No,
R2?
R2, so that's R4 now. Changed. R2 is your generic shield regen, and R5 is your generic hull regen. So, I mean, what now that they changed it so that regenning back above half in chance engagement doesn't give you any points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that I started saying that, I think I've kind of got it. So maybe. So my suspicion would be that they want things to die. They want
So
the
if
game
that's the
state to move
case,
forwards.
if that is the case, then when they did this one, why didn't they just add shield upgrade to it?
I don't know. But
Because like
what I mean
the
is like so
I understand what you
R2 and
mean, but
R5 are one of the annoying ones where you've got a ship nearly dead and then it gets away and you either have to chase it to stop it from regenning. So I don't know. I like they didn't put any of the R2D2s or the named hull regen one. Where it's the action with 3 charges. I can't remember which one it is now. R5
yeah, well,
the
that's probably because they're limited. They're only limited to one, where
yeah,
these
that
are generics.
but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of is that they don't want a lot of regen. Like a ship that regen's okay. All of your ships regenning probably isn't. I don't know.
yeah, makes
I don't
sense.
know.
I
And
get it.
I
I
could
get
buy
it.
that. I 100% could buy that.
Yeah.
And then still nothing on the restricted list. All right, so
I
do we want to get
don't I don't know how looking at the cards that are on here on the ban list, like my instant thing is, so why don't you just restrict auto blasters? And I'm like, cool. I still take it on my 1A on my 1A to still gets auto blasters in. Even if you restrict me to one card off it. You know what I mean? I think if this is a full page of ban list, I think we're talking about 5 pages of restricted cards to have any impact. And that's if you're looking at only one card off it. If you're doing like a Magic the Gathering or Crisis Protocol, 2 or 3 or 4 things off a restricted list, I think it has 0 impact on squad building. So I think having a restricted list is probably not going to work for X-Wing unless you do it with all. Unless you want to actually steer the meta of what you're allowed to play. And that sounds weird because we have a ban list which you could perceive to do that already. But I think this is a very different thing. Unless you're going to start saying, no, you can't play that combo, but this combo's okay. You know what I mean? It gets
Yeah,
very
yeah.
fucking hell. The restrictive list gets very restricted. Yeah.
Is that kind of the point?
Like but it has to be, and I think that impacts fun before it becomes a tool.
Yeah, fair.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I agree. I get where you're coming from. I just,
Yeah, I mean, you're both
there
more
are
welcome to
frustrations.
disagree. Yeah.
There are frustrations with ban lists, specific cards, and 1 or 2 ships that affect 5, 6, 7, 8 other types of ships that can do them.
Like I'm trying to think of an example we could talk through. Like something like this is a while ago now, so pre AMG points change in second edition, when we had people complaining about Thai Thai Advanced V1 Baron of the Empires with disciplined. So you've got 6, maybe I don't know, I'm making it up. Maybe you had 6 Barons all disciplined. So let's say you put disciplined on the restricted list, so that you can only have 4 copies of it. Okay, so now I have 6 Barons. 4 of them have disciplined. The other 2, I take someone out. Maybe they take ruthless and just ruthless each other to death to trigger disciplined. Like, does that make it better? Because if you had 6 copies of disciplined, one of them was going to die to trigger the other 5. So, like, what did you actually do by putting it on the restricted list? Like, I think the black and white of ban it or don't is probably actually better, but I'm not clever enough to run that all the way through.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, for the most part, Magic takes the same policy. In standard play, it's ban it or don't ban it. Like, I've
Yeah,
never seen anything put on a restricted list that wasn't like Legacy,
Or
Vintage play. Command.
commander. Yeah,
Well, yeah,
you can't run a certain general, or a certain general can't be run with certain cards, things like that.
right.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. You know what I mean? I think squad building in X-wing is too unrestricted for a restriction list to work.
Yeah.
I agree. No, it's true.
Right. I've It's an example of what I think a restricted list needs to look like to have any impact on squad building. We're gonna pick rebels. We'll start with it's easy. So, Wedge, Wedge is on the Luke Skywalker's on the R2D2. All of your regen droids, proton torpedoes, selfless and hopeful, Biggs, Leia. I don't know what else. Sabine's banner, but
Yeah.
well, maybe so that's 9 cards, and you get to take 2 of them. All right, so now I can't have more than 2 copies of proton torpedoes, or I can only take Wedge and protons or Luke and protons. If I want Luke, Wedge, and Biggs, all with proton torpedoes doing the trench run, you can't, but like, it's either ridiculous or it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, and I think you have to put pilots on there, but then the good pilots are the ones you want to see in the game. Like, no one wants Luke Skywalker on the restricted list, but if Luke's not on the in Rebels, what ship is then? Oh, yeah, I don't know. I like the conversation because I don't think there's an answer, which makes it a good conversation to have for the thought exercise. But yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
All right. Where do you want to go next? Ship points.
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I don't know if you guys had anything on points that you cared about talking enough.
Vader's list points.
Yeah, Vader and
Both
Defender is 9 points
Yay!
with 14 loadout. Feels like a lot of loadout considering I probably don't need to spend any of it, but whatever.
Right. Exactly. Like, I'll put stuff on them because why not? But
yeah.
yay! I think, did he go down in the X1 too? He's at 7 now. I feel like he was at 8 before.
Yeah, 7 looks good to me. 21 loadout, I'll take that.
Uh-huh.
Bunch of generics went up. Alphas went up, which I'm happy with. Sorry, Ed.
Yeah. That's okay. It is what it is.
They get a bunch of 2-point TIE fighters, so
yeah, look at that.
yeah. So yeah, what was it for? What did I want to talk about? Defender Vader got cheaper. That's probably relevant. And yeah,
Boba
Empire.
got cheaper.
Yeah, Empire keep some 2-point ships because not every faction has 2-point ships anymore.
Some of them got lowered to 2 points.
Yeah.
I do find it weird. Like, it's still weird for me to sit down and look at the Academy, Black Squadron, and Obsidian Squadron and realize that they're all the same points. Their loadouts are different, yes, but they're all the same points. That just feels weird to me. But I'm getting used to the scoring. I'll get used to it, or how we're doing points now. That just feels
I think
weird.
the thing for me now when I look at this style of squad building is, why are you even looking at them? like at all.
I know.
Because Valen Rudolph's 2 points. IOSB Jingoist are 2 points. Wampa's 2 points. Like,
Mhm.
what are you doing to me?
Yep, I know.
Um,
Like, why would you even bother taking them? I get it. You're
yeah,
right. I mean, and we've talked about this. We've had this conversation where like they're really, really trying to go more towards everyone's flying the named pilots because it's more cool to say I'm flying Luke Skywalker than I am Red Squadron. I
yeah,
get it. I'm on board. It's just there is that part of me that is still the first edition purist to be like, well, that's the reason why those are there because I've got 24 points left. I can either do this ship or I can do 2 TIE Academy pilots, and I'm going to fill that in and make it a 7-ship build instead of a 6-ship build. Like that mentality is still stuck in my head. I'm trying.
yeah. So the other faction that has a bunch of 2-point ships is obviously Separatist. So the list I made today was Darth Maul in the Scimitar. Where's my list gone? I had this up. There we go. I'm a professional and definitely prepped all of this in advance.
Totally.
Dathomir Rising. It's a good name, sure. So Darth Maul and a Sith infiltrator with a tractor beam, Savage Opress. Savage Opress is
Savage.
French. Scimitar, and then K2B4 is the tactical droid, tactical relay. Is that what we're called? Yeah. So that is the when a friendly ship at 0 to 3 defends, it may spend 1 calculate token. If it does, add 1 invade result unless the attacker chooses to gain 1 strain token. So it just makes it easy for it to punch them back. But it's Darth Maul in the infiltrator and then 6 vultures.
There you go.
Because when Separatists released, I had a go at flying Darth Maul and 3 vultures. I was like, yeah, this is fun. And now I get twice as many vultures, so it must be twice as much fun.
Clearly.
That's how math works. Easy. I've got 2 Hadar Chal prototypes with energy shells. I have DFS 081 with energy shells and a munition failsafe and some loadout that I couldn't spend. And I've got 3 Separatist drones with Discord missiles because people tell me Discords are terrible now. So I would obviously take them to see if they're right.
To find out.
But that's my Separatist list I'm going to try. So I get to try a 7-ship list because also people are telling me that the numbers has gone down. The number of ships people are flying. So, I'm all in.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I like the idea of Maul being able to tractor beam someone. And then you just wreck them with all of the vultures. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
Do you want to touch on the Republic at all?
No, it makes me sad.
Yep.
So no, to be honest, my style of Republic list didn't really change too much.
Well, the only thing bump that you had is you got a bump in what? Contrail went up to 3.
Yeah, I wasn't running Contrail anyway.
Well, I know, but
Real
most
Republic players
are.
who like winning were, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, most people were. So Contrail went up from 2 to 3, and that, in my opinion, is good.
Barris went up from 3 to 4.
That was the next one I was going to point out.
Yeah.
But the rest of the Jedi didn't change.
Loadout's changed, so you can't fit Chopper onto Ahsoka. Can't fit Chopper anymore, which is great because Ahsoka ignored the downside of the Chopper, so that's probably the correct choice.
Probably.
You can still take Ahsoka in the 7B for 6 points and get Chopper. So, just do it that way.
Did Anakin go up or down?
Down.
It's 7. He went down. That's so we actually lowered the points on a Jedi. Okay.
Anakin Skywalker in the Ada 2 went down to 6.
Yeah, I saw.
The one that's not, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but Hound became a one with 23 loadout and Hawk went down to 20. So now the I2, who has a sensor slot instead of a talent slot, has more loadout, which makes me sad. I would
And weren't
rather have dedicated, but whatever.
and weren't there lists that were filling those with the V19s because those look like they went up too.
Some of the V19s came down. Some went. Yeah, they all got cheaper in some way. And some of them lost the second missile slot, so you
Yeah.
can't take barrage on them. There's only 2 that can have barrage missiles now. Which, yeah, probably if you're gonna do the Z95s, you probably have to.
And I have no choice. I have to make a little bit
And
of
they're all
room.
3 points, by the way.
Yep.
All of them.
So overall, this is the one area where I was hoping to see a little bit more movement in the. I would like to see it to get to the point where if you're going to be running Jedi, you would point them out to only 3 maximum in a list. But I guess we'll see. Maybe somebody's like
I think
change it.
that's a knee-jerk reaction.
It is. You're right. Admittedly, wholeheartedly, it's an emotional knee-jerk reaction of.
So
Wow, that feels kind of dirty.
Contrail isn't a Jedi, and they
I
don't have
know
a 2.
that.
They don't have any 2-point ship now, so they
Right.
can't. It's a lot harder to take a ship at cost 7 if you don't have access to a 2-point ship, because then you're at 2 5s, a 7, and a 3. So you can't sneak to 5 ships. You're
Right.
capped out at 4. You know what I mean? And that's what people were doing, is they were taking a 2-point and a 3-pointer to be a really good 5-point ship, and that unlocked a bunch of other things. So yeah, I don't disagree, but I think that it's probably in like sitting down to start list building. I struggled to get to 5 ships that I actually wanted all of them, and that's so I have to look at just doing more Aether sprites instead of any heavy hitter, because I like having at least one 3-dice attack in there. So I was taking 7B. Yeah, there's, like I say, I don't think it's a terrible thing. I'm sure there's more than enough in there, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
So we'll see. We'll see. I think with the changes they made in other ship areas, maybe they get it down to where it's a 4-ship list and not a 5-ship list, which I think in my mind would be ideal. And maybe things look a little bit different now that they can't pull that off. We'll see.
Yeah. Then scenarios then?
Yeah,
I
unless
think
you
we're
have
done.
something super special in the upgrades that you want to hit on. I don't think so.
Outmaneuvers 12 points.
Oh yeah, that's why I held this up here.
The outmaneuver slot is like maybe not being used by outmaneuver anymore.
Maybe.
At 12, I mean, so General Grievous is a great example, because it used to be outmaneuver and afterburners, but now it's just outmaneuver, because it synergizes really well with everything else that Grievous wants to do. But if you do it, that's it. So yeah.
All right, let's get into scenarios and we'll button this one up for the evening and let Chris go to bed early. So the scenarios, very top of the list, we should mention, is the scenarios go into effect on 6/15. So we are currently recording this in late May. So you still have a couple of weeks of playing the scenarios as they were written, but
You don't have to. Just play the new one.
yeah,
Don't
play the
ruin
new
it.
ones. Like I'm just saying,
I ran these ones today, literally less than 24 hours old, and we were running them.
Yeah,
They're better. I promise you.
I get the reason why they give that date though. Like if there's a big event this upcoming weekend and people have already paid their tickets and paid their money, I'm thinking like your Adepticons, your the big GT style cons.
Well, I get why you have to do it for real events, but
Yeah.
99.9 recurring of people who will play X-Wing or games of X-Wing aren't going to be played at that event.
Right. In that event,
So
usually.
just play the. If you don't have a reason to not play these scenarios, just play them. The better. Just flat out before, like, no spoilers. They're just better. Like it does everything I think they needed to do for each scenario. It's like chef's kiss. You've done good.
You've done well. Mwah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assault at the satellite array is the one that changed released, so we did not play this one today because it changed released. Like we didn't feel like we needed to mess around with it.
But they did add a little rule to all of them, which is
Yeah.
there's scoring for primary for those objectives doesn't happen until round 2.
Yeah.
And I think that makes perfect sense, to be perfectly honest with you, because I can't tell you how many games I've played or watched because I've been watching a lot of X-Wing lately. Thanks to the Gold Squadron pilot podcast reporting their stuff out on YouTube, I've been watching plenty of games. Where okay, round 1, and then this is a 3-2, and you're already behind, or you're 4-1, you're already behind. It'd be kind of nice to be able to have like one turn to settle in.
Yeah, I like it. I think it
So do I.
takes some of that pressure off feeling like you have to play in a specific way.
Well, and I'm
It's
curious to see
nice.
how much turn 0 stuff that affects, to be honest with you, because plenty of people and plenty of games that I've seen, it's all the same scenario. I'm going to put one minimum as close to me so that I can score that one on turn 1. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, maybe that's not the best place for it. Maybe I want it over here instead. Maybe I want it over there instead.
Yeah.
All right, so that covers that one because legitimately that's the only rule change that happened there. Chance engagement?
Yeah. Yeah. So chance engagement is
So with scoring, so the big change is starting on the second round at the start of the end phase, a player earns 1 mission point if they contest the satellite. A player contests the satellite if they have 1 or more ships at range 0 to 2 of the satellite. If only one player is contesting the satellite, that player scores 1 additional mission point.
Yeah. So in the way I read this in my head, which isn't the words that Sean said because he read it correctly, not the way I do it in my head. The last part is how it currently works. If you
Yes.
are the only person near it, you get 1 point. Now, it ticks every turn. If you can bully the other person away, you get a bonus point.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how I interpret it now.
So the way that I read it is both players could get a mission point out of it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so as long
So
as
basically every
go on.
turn there's 2 mission points up for grab.
And either you're splitting them or
No.
Or
Sorry, you either split them or one person gets 2. Yeah.
2. Yeah. Or nobody gets any if you're not near.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I actually like that change. That makes
I like
me
that a
feel
lot.
Yeah, it kind of because Chance was the slowest paced scoring mission. It's the one that went to time most often. That's what all the data points to. So
Mhm.
having that
Well,
passive tick of just if you think about people are saying that games will last between 4 and 7 rounds, so we'll call it 5 rounds to be on the lower end of the average.
That's been my experience.
So you're getting 4 points a game on top of what you were getting before. So you're only having to get to 16 now compared to the 20 you were having to before, because generally people
Right.
shouldn't have been scoring chance that often.
Right.
So it kind of just ratchets up the pressure of the scenario a little bit that I have to actually do a kill it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I feel like it'll end the games more, which I think is a good thing.
I agree. Salvage mission, which I have yet to play. Oh no, I think I may have. Yeah, no, I've played this one. I take that back.
Yeah.
So this one scoring same as everything starts on the second round.
Yeah. There's a couple of good things on this, so that might not be immediately apparent from your first read through. But for supply caches, you cannot pick them up until the second round. Either you can't do the scenario action to interact with them until the second round. So you can't race over to one, pick it up turn 1, and just not score it. You've got to wait until turn 2. So if you put one too close, then you might fly past it.
Yes.
Then if you're towing stuff, I'm gonna talk about what it doesn't say, and then we'll cover what's been added. Because stuff's been removed, and you can't add a color for text that you've removed.
Right.
It's just
Well,
gone.
you can make it red and strike it through if you
No,
really
yeah.
wanted to, but
But so it now there is nothing about performing advanced maneuvers whilst towing a crate.
mhm.
So now, whilst you're towing a crate, you can do K turns, you can do Talon rolls, you can do stops, you can do all of the advanced maneuvers. That's what used to be restricted. That was part of the mission. It is not there anymore.
Right.
You won't find it, which means it doesn't happen. There's nothing special about it. What it does say is that after you perform a tow action, the ship removes any cloak token it has. That's remove it. You do not decloak, you just remove the token. And after you also, whilst a ship is towing a supply cache, it cannot perform a barrel roll action, it cannot perform boost actions, it cannot perform cloak actions, it cannot perform slam actions, and it cannot gain cloak tokens. I saw a game with ISP jingoists just taking cloaking devices because they have an illicit SWAT and picking up crates, cloaking and run. My TIE fighter's got 5 agility with an evade, just get wrecked.
Come get me. Come at
Yeah.
me, bro.
So I kind of get it, you know?
I totally get it. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think letting them do what's on the dial and stopping them doing this bullshit is
Yes.
probably the better of the two options.
I agree. 100%.
Regardless of the remembering the dial part and go, oh no, you know. So I did it. Was it against you, Ed? We spoke about it, and then I went to do an advanced maneuver like halfway through a game. And I'm like, jeez, that's stupid. No, that isn't a thing. It's just oh, I want to do this. I can't because of token. But yeah,
Right. And last, but certainly
this
not
one
least,
is my favorite change because
scramble the transmission.
yeah.
All
So
right. So they changed a couple of things in the placing of the objects. So let's try to hit on those. I'm going to read the whole thing and then I'll kind of highlight what's changed on this. At start of the place opticals step of setup, place one satellite in the center of the board and center at range 4 to 4.5 of all board edges. Then, starting with the first player, players' turns placing the remaining 2 satellites at range 3. That was a change. When a player places a satellite, it must be range 2 to 4 of the opponent's board edge. Once all 3 satellites have been placed, the player places the obstacles described in the rules reference. Obstacles cannot be placed in overlapping. So this has been reduced to 3, not 5.
yeah, I
3
really
of them,
like
not
it.
5. I like it. I like it a lot.
Interesting, that's for sure. Because you're strategically now trying to balance what's best for you with what's worse for them by
Right.
putting it within their board edge space, basically. Kind of interesting.
It is.
Yeah,
Also,
that is
can't score these on the second turn. And then the satellite features also change. A satellite in this scenario feature may only have one player marker on it per time. Ships that can use the scenario action or interact with this with the scenario features, starting with the second round. I think they kind of covered that before. And then last but not least, when performing the scramble action, choose a satellite range 0 to 1 and place your marker on it. If the chosen satellite has another player's on it, remove it and place your own. If there are no satellites in range, the action fails. The roll is gone. The roll is gone. Thank you. The roll is gone. The
Yeah.
one thing that drove me nuts about this particular mission is the number of times that I tried to flip that over and would fail the roll. Thank you, AMG. Thank you.
Yeah, I like it.
It is curious to me. Like, I wonder the thought process behind reducing it to 3 instead of 5, because originally every scenario had 5. And my guess would be is that this one was the one that finished the fastest, and that they were scoring too many points too quickly, and they wanted to reduce that. That would be my guess.
Yeah, this is one of this one and Salvage, I think, were the 2 that had the biggest potential for there to be that.
Gigantic
But the
swings.
thing we spoke about last time, I know it was a month ago now, but that pace of play and the rate at which you're scoring points, I think
Yes.
the disparity was biggest in the potential for a bigger disparity was highest in these. And I think that taking this down to 3 satellites means that you cannot have as big a discrepancy, but because it's still an action to actually flip them, you're still wasting you're wasting defense to flip them, which means if your opponent's focusing on offense, you know what I mean. It should bring it closer together.
Yeah.
So,
In
yeah,
theory, I agree.
I think this was a really good change. This is the one that's changed the most for me, and it's the one that I like the most.
I am so elated. I can't wait to play this mission again now because of those 2 changes. I think that's fantastic.
But yeah, I'm happy for you because it just like I
I'm like,
said, there's no why there was a random thing, I don't know. But I do know because they're on record as having said that rolling dice is fun.
yeah, and I'm sure
And
that's
it
what it
is,
was.
but rolling dice for something that should succeed like 7 like was it 6 out of 8 times
Yeah.
and then it failing just feels bad. And then
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was my biggest argument with this one is there are way too many feel bad moments, especially for me specifically, but I'm sure everyone else is feeling it too when you tried to flip that over and you failed the roll.
yeah.
So goodbye, roll for scramble. Thank you. Thank you, AMG. As we know, of course, because they always cater to just us and just on this show, they always listen to us. They heard me say that and went, "Oh yeah, we should probably change that for him." So thank you guys. I appreciate
Ed feels bullied, so we should not do that. Yeah. That was good. I think I don't really care about points because that's just normal.
Yeah.
And one of the things that distracted me earlier is someone mentioned me in a comment on Facebook. So I'm not going to use the name because I don't want to call people out or anything.
Yep.
But blah blah blah. I was talking about the narrative of people complaining that the rules in the starter set aren't the actual rules, and I'm like, it's just an old. It's such a disingenuous narrative. Well, we've already had that conversation a couple of times on the show. I don't want to go over that ground again. But someone said that it's not really an argument against 2.5. It's frustration about communication expectations. And they've gone to say, I was expecting a points change, not another set of rules changes or another list of banned cards. To be specific, I was about to play a badass Mandalorian build of all the toys, and the points list comes out, and he is 8 less loadout. I never even got him to a table. Right, okay. So the points. This isn't you don't have to play this until the 15th of June.
Right.
So just play your cool Mandalorian. Like I was looking forward to playing 8 FOs until they made you not be able to run 8 FOs. Like I get it, it sucks. But that's not like complaining that something changed for points is irrelevant. Your stuff not fitting into your list is not a new thing. And then to say that you're expecting a certain type of communication, right? Do you get like sad when you expect to win the lottery and then didn't? Like, I expected to like not. So I had pizza pockets for my lunch because I'm poor now, and I took pizza pockets to work. And I got home and Joe had made the pizza. I expected to not eat pizza twice in one day, and then I had to. Like fuck. But why would AMG do this? Why would AMG not manage my expectations better?
I know, right?
Like, I invented this thing that I believe is a reasonable expectation, and then they failed to meet it. Like, cool. There's a word for that. Begins with an L. It's an I, an F, an E. Oh no, that's it. So it's just fucking life, isn't it?
It is. It happens.
Man, I wanted this thing to happen, and then it didn't. It's a bit shitty. Don't know what to tell you.
So the only downside of this is, of course, I went up to Yasby. I'm like, oh, did Yasby get updated? Yes. And for those who are curious, it is absolutely updated with the new points. And as I'm looking at that, I'm like, ooh. So my original squad for Vader and all of that is actually 1 point over now because Alpha's changed. So I'm gonna have to toy with that. The other list that I had that I really like, ooh, wow, look at the TIE Swarm. How the TIE Swarm. I'm 2 points under on the TIE Swarm. I can add another ship.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can go to now a 7-ship TIE Swarm. We're not going to do we're going to go Valen Rooter. We already talked about that. Yep, I can now run 7 ties. So that is going to be interesting. So I've got all kinds of new stuff. It's one of the things I love about whenever points change. It gives you an opportunity to go through and re-examine some of your old lists and toy with them again. What was the other one that I looked at? I think one of my Rebel lists I actually had. I think the points stayed the same, but yeah, the points stayed the same, but I now have a bunch of loadout that's different. So that'll be fun to play out with because now I've got more points to add better upgrades. So that'll be interesting. Well, that's it. I think that's all we wanted to cover tonight. Kris, I know you're kind of tired. I'm kind of tired myself.
I'll make it. You know, we've only got like another half an hour of me berating you and stuff before we close out. I'll try and get like hyped up for it. It's fine.
Well, is there something else you want to cover, or am I missing it? Because I was about ready.
I'm good.
Okay, I was going to say there's
yeah,
something else.
That's it. The normal close is half an hour of us taking a piss out of Ed. And...
This is true. This is true. So I'll start that off by saying, Sean, always good talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
And then Kris, always good talking to you.
Yeah, it's been great. I had planned a show where we're going to look at the Rogue class starfighter because we saw the dial and all of that, and a bunch of other stuff. But I was like, nah, this is probably a better show. Sometimes it works out when we miss a normal recording date because we would have recorded on the Thursday night and then Friday morning they dropped all of this. So no, I think this was a more productive show.
Quite fortuitous, I would say.
Yeah.
All right, so I know you've got some housekeeping you like to do, so why don't we let you go ahead and go through that? Ooh, that reminds me, if you are a Patreon, I'll hit one real quick. In my pocket right now, I have got my evade tokens, my lack of evade tokens. I wanted to make sure to bring those. I'm like, woohoo, I got them in the mail.
Thanks, Sean. I haven't even seen them yet because they've not arrived here yet because Canada Post is terrible. But it's fine.
Yeah, it was kind of an issue getting those out, but they're out and looks like
people should start to be receiving them. Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah.
We have the lack of stress tokens are designed. I just have to buy the acrylic and send it to Alan. He's going to cut them for us. So that's cool. Sorry, Alan, this is on me. I know I gave you some shit previously, but this is all on me. You can abuse me on Discord as much as you like because that's the place to hang out and abuse Kris. And Dissect Discord.
As he's listening to this right now, he's like, I'm writing that up right now.
Yeah. But yeah, it shouldn't be going out to all of the patrons. And again, that's for everyone who was a patron last year. We're all caught up now. So the stress tokens will go out to all of the current patrons. Everyone who has been a patron in 2022. Even if you cancel it now, you'll still get your stress tokens. It's queue all of the patrons leaving. Right. $1 a show, and then, it cost me a fortune, but it's fine. It's been worth it. Sean was a massive help. Thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it.
Yep, and we'll be again on these.
Yeah. But no, you can support the show directly through the Lack of Focus Patreon. Generally, I say to people to do like $1 a show is more than generous. If you want to do more, you can, but it is charged per show. Any additional content we do, we don't charge extra for, but per scheduled show is it's billed. If you'd rather just do a fixed amount per month, you can support Dice8 as a generic entity, which supports all of my content, and that is a Dice8 Patreon. Or you can just, phone me up, send me money, just mail it in. It's fine. Cold hard cash. It's good.
Thick stacks.
Thick stacks of Vietnamese. Oh, I knew this.
Oh, you did know
Oh
this.
man,
Drawing
currency
blank.
is what's it called? Oh, it's a dong. I'm glad I didn't because I was going. I would say I was going Wong. I was going to get your Wong out. It's fine, but yeah.
Mhm.
I was confused by having watched Doctor Strange, but yeah, the Vietnamese dong. So how much is? Let's do it the other way around. So $1, 18,000 Vietnamese dong. One
There you
Canadian
go.
dollar. Send me stacks of Vietnamese dong. I would love that. Definitely would like roll around in bed just covered in dong. Well, look, man, where your mind takes that statement is up to you. If you're imagining someone else about me rolling around in a bed full of dongs, that's up to you, man. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
there's an interesting twist for the show ending. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
I told you we've got half an hour of us riffing on taking a piss out of bed now.
Wait, how is this? You're the one rolling in a bed
No,
of
you're the
dogs,
one who
not me.
imagined it. I was rolling around on a bed filled with Vietnamese currency. You're the one
This is-
picturing other things. I mean, where your mind goes is up to you.
It's up to me, 100% up to me. You're right. That is totally on me.
I mean, I wouldn't mind how much you enjoy that image. It's yours now. You can cherish it.
Oh yeah, I'll be cherishing that one. All right.
Yeah. What else have we done? I finished listening to Horus Rising again. I rebought the audiobook because I believe it had been
Ooh.
modified slightly. So I've started the Horus Heresy series again. So that's been my book club entry.
Oh, we should do something like that. We should legitimately. We should do I wish you had told me you were going to do that, because of course I just started with Mark of Faith, which is the Sisters of Battle book, which has been fantastic. Like I absolutely love the voice acting in this one. But if I had known you were doing that, maybe we should do that. Maybe.
Well, I didn't go straight onto False Gods. I'm doing Hollowed Ground, which is the New Age of Sigmar book about the two witch hunters, the father and daughter witch hunter team that they released models for. So I'm listening to that one now. So once we're done, we could you can catch up and listen to Horus Rising. We can make Sean listen to Horus Rising as well.
I think it'd be good for him. He's getting a little bit into 40K. It'd be nice to know a little bit about the Horus Heresy and where it all came from, and it gives me an excuse to go back and revisit some of those books. I'm 100% on board.
Yeah.
Like we could do I mean, if you're doing it, show is not sponsored by them, but I would highly recommend Audible.
Why is it
Do
the
it.
show sponsored by Audible? Then we
We
wouldn't need
should.
to hassle everyone for a Patreon dong.
I know, right?
dollars.
We should fix that. We should 100% fix that. But I think that's a fantastic idea. If we want to go through and do an audiobook club once a month, spend your token on it, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I'm on board.
All right.
Oh,
So my next. Do I even have my token? Oh, I don't know.
I still have one left because I had a break from Audible because I was too busy actually working. So I spent 3 in one go. So I've got one.
I got all the Sisters of Battle one. That's what I did. Yeah. Mine.
And then what else? I forgot what I was going to say now. It's gone. It's fine. It'll come back. It'll be all right. Don't worry about it. Oh, that was so good. I actually got an email from a games company asking if I would review some games for them.
Ooh,
yeah, very cool.
They reached out to me and everything. I was like, wow, I must be a real boy.
Look at that.
Yeah, so that was interesting. So I'll have to start making some content again. It's great. I'm excited. But yeah, I've actually been working with Community Futures out of Alberta. It's like a government-funded organization to help small businesses. So I'm trying to get the website redesigned so that can all come back up, and working with them to try and do a real business plan to try and sort out all of the bad parts of Dice 8, like the fact that it hemorrhaged money because of COVID, and investing in being able to do a bunch of event coverage and then there be no events. So
yeah,
hopefully if all of that comes good, there might be scope for Dice 8 to actually be a real thing, that I don't have to do full-time work on top of being a stay-at-home parent to not leave me any time to do the actual content creation side of it. So yeah,
That's the dream right there.
yeah. We have our serious talk right at the end, for the hardcore fans to have that glimpse into Chris's life. But yeah, that's it. That's me. Thanks to everyone. You can also obviously email us at wackofocuspodcast@gmail.com. But I'm going to be honest, the best way to communicate is on the Discord. We've had a few people have jumped in the Discord recently, and been pretty cool. I'm trying to get my painting started back up again. I posted my pictures of Grub Targson. There's an E in there. Grub Targson. But I painted for Necromunda. He's one of the actual named Hive Scum. He's a fine fellow. So that was cool, and I'm going to try and do some more stuff like that. So I do have a project behind me. It's all my Necromunda terrain I finally started working on. So building a Necromunda table to play at home. So yeah, that's my life for the foreseeable future.
I just got the request from my youngest daughter, who was mentioning that summer is coming up, and she's like, we only played like 1 or 2 games before, because I was watching some of the Dallas Open for 40K on the TV, because all the kids abandoned me, and I'm like, cool, I've got the living room to myself. I mean, I can put whatever I want on TV. So I'm watching the Dallas Open, and she comes in and goes, we only ever played like 2 games. I wish we played more at home. And I'm like, I can solve that problem in 5 minutes by setting up a table. So that's legitimately one of my to-dos for this week, is to set up a small table with just a little bit of terrain, so we can play like little 500-point games, so that she can kind of have her fun and rolling some dice. So I totally feel you. I'm going to be doing a table project myself here shortly.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh yeah, that's it. That's all my stuff, Ed. So you feel free to close it out.
All right, I'm sitting here peeling the stickers off of my lack of focus tokens right now.
I can see.
It's the one downside. Like, I love these tokens; these are absolutely sharp. But like, legitimately, it's the one downside is trying to scrape these stickers off. It's such a pain in the butt. But
yeah, I don't get paid enough to do that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't asking you to do that, but like I said, it can be a bit of a chore. But
I did one. I actually did one, and I'm like, there's no way on the planet I can get all these.
No, there's no way. Nor should you. But
I'd still be working on them.
In the time frame that Kris was giving his closing, I got all 8 of my tokens all out of the package. Look at those sharp suckers. Yeah. I'm a big fan. All right, so that is going to do it. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to actually use them in person. Like I said, I'm just going to toss one little. I have a little travel case that I keep. I'm going to put I'm looking at my 7 tie swarm list right here in front of me. I'm going to put that together and put that in the box with my dice and everything. And, if a game of actual X-Wing turns out on the table, so be it. It happens. I'm putting these in there for that. So, in any case, that's going to do it for this one. I hope everyone enjoyed. And, of course, we will see you again in another 2 weeks. And until next time, guys, we shall see you. Wait, I almost did my YouTube. Dang it.
Please. You don't even do a YouTube channel. What are you talking about?
I know. I almost did I don't know why that came out of my head. I have no idea. Until next time, guys, as always, fly casual. And Ed's the idiot because he put this wrong intro and wrong closing. Like, legitimately, there was like muscle. Thank you once again for joining the Lack of Focus X-Wing podcast. Check out Dice Hate Productions for all the latest episodes, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you again next episode.